Yo, what is up guys, it's LOZA, and here today we've got my Dark Magician Gold Sarcophagus deck profile. Now you'll notice I've only got the first row available. If you just want to see the card list, skip to the end of the video because it'll all be revealed there. But I'm going to go through it card by card, line by line, just so we can get a thorough understanding of why we play the cards at the ratios we do. You can also hear I'm a little bit sick, so I apologize, but that's just going to have to be my voice for this video. Well, let's start off with the Gandora, the Guess Gandora, or Gias Gandora, the Dragon of Destruction. This is the Gold Sark version of Gandora. It summons itself for free if you have Gold Sark, which we are obviously playing at 3. This card lets you pay half your LP and destroy as many other cards on the field as possible, and then banish them. And then you may special level 7 or lower monster from deck that mentions Gold Sark, and if you do, you increase its level by the number of cards you got to destroy with this effect. Really good card for going second, hence why we're playing 2. There's a lot of ways to search it, but this could potentially be a 3-0, but for now I think 2 is just fine. And let's move on to the Dark Magician. And that's why we're all really here, isn't it? The Dark Magician, the Ebon Sorcerer, is our new version of Dark Magician that is only Dark Magician while in the Monster Zone. However, it's able to summon itself for free if Gold Sark of Light is on the field, as well as it has this unique effect where when it's destroyed by a card effect and a level 5 or higher monster is on the field, you can special the Dark Magician back, this card exclusively, and then you can set a spell trap that mentions Dark Magician from your deck. And I will mention that there is this Dark Magician Mirror Force. I'm currently not playing it, but you definitely could. I think Secrets is the better option, but we'll get more into that as we get to those cards. So, an extremely unique take on Dark Magician, one that's meant to come on the field and then get popped and come back with more support. It would have been nice if this card identified as DM on the hand field grave deck kind of scenario, but clearly Konami don't want Dark Magician to have good things. So this is why we're at, building a new build. And this is the real reason we're all here. The Tricolor Gadget. This card is a better normal summon than Rod. I'm sorry everybody, it just is. This card's normal or special, you can add a Gold Sark of Light or a spell trap that mentions it from your deck to your hand. So that's going to be our Gold Sark target and also our Silence Towards the Future. This card is just sensational because it's on normal or special as well. And we probably won't have a special, but it's just cool that that is also an option. Not to mention, when this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can set a Stronghold, the Fortress, Hidden Fortress from your deck, which is cool. I don't think we play the Stronghold, but we'll get to that very soon. These are the two monsters you definitely play. Silent Magician 0, Silent Swordsman 0 is a bit of a hit or miss kind of card, but I feel like the Magician is better because it's a spell negation. And of course, both of these cards gain attack equal to their difference in their original level. So they're level 4, and for every level they go up, they gain a 500 attack as well. And don't forget the Gandora summons stuff out with a heightened level, as well as I think there's something else in the deck that helps with heightening their levels. But we'll get to them a bit later. The Swordsman is strictly worse because it does protect you from your opponent activating effect that would target a monster or the Gold Sark itself. You negate the activation and then increase this card's level, so a little bit unique, but you know, you got to protect the Gold Sark in this build. It's kind of the eternal soul of the deck, except I would say it's a lot better because it doesn't nuke your field when it leaves the field. Magician Souls and Illusion of Chaos is all that we play in our Dark Magician engine, besides Secrets. I'm just going to strip this Dark Magician all the way down to here now, and you're going to see that we have a whole bunch of cool cards from the OCG. So Secrets, once again, being our last TM cards, we have Magician Souls, Illusion of Chaos, and Secrets, and the main reason is because Illusion of Chaos can grab you Magician Souls, or it can grab you this Dark Magician here if you need it. Because it does in fact mention Dark Magician, it is searchable, which is really freaking cool. Now Secrets in this build is just going to summon you Dragoon, and that's it. But if you want to play other fusions, I guess you could. You could play Dragon Knight to protect your Gold Sark, I suppose, but without Eternal Soul it seems a little redundant. But I'm hoping we get maybe another support card that might be similar to Eternal Soul but better, but that's a bit of copium from me. Anyway, Ties of the Friendship, this is a one-off because it does lock you out of the extra deck, and it's kind of your desperation play if everything goes wrong. It's also the play you go for if you open Gold Sark but not the Gadget. So you can Gold Sark, grab the Gadget, and then Gadget can get you Ties of the Friendship, or Ties of Friendship, I'm not sure why I keep saying the. It can also get you Silence Towards the Future, so you know that's also a route you can go down. And Silence Towards the Future adds you any monster that mentions Gold Sark. It can add you Gadget, it can add you DM, can add you Gandora, or these guys. But you normally want to special these guys out from the deck, normally from Ties of the Friendship, or from the Dark Magician effect. So typically, you don't want to open these two. You do want to open the rest. Gadget you absolutely need to see, which is why we play 3 Sarc and the 3 Silence Towards the Future. Because this card is just the best normal summon we've got so far. It doesn't recur itself the same way Magician's Rod does, but it's still quite good. Anyway, Ties of the Friendship lets you summon... Man, I keep saying that. Ties of Friendship lets you summon 2 level 4 or lowers with different names that mention Gold Sarc. You do have to have a Gold Sarc monster and Gold Sarc on your field to be able to use it. And of course, as I said earlier, you can't use any of your extra deck once you do that. But that's okay, because you normally do it at the end of your turn as the last thing you're going to do, or you do it as a desperation play because you have nothing else to do. Gold Sarc is good. I don't think we need to say much about it. It can't be destroyed by monster effects, so you know, they have to use MST or Lightning Storm or Duster. And a lot of people have pointed out, oh, if this card dies, like, you lose. And I'm like, yeah, but how's that any different to Modern DM with Eternal Soul? Like, it's not very different. I'd say this card's a lot better as well. So, during main phase, you can just add a card that mentions Gold Sarc. And then if your opponent special summons a monster from grave, discard a spell and target one of those, send it to the grave. So, having that additional effect's kind of cool, and they didn't need to do that, but it's sick, and it's a good reference to the anime. Love to see it. Pot of Extrab. I wanted to play Desires in this build, but I feel like there's too many cards you want to play at 1. Like, you really don't want to play 3 Silent Magician 0 or the Swordsman at 3 either. You probably could get away with Gandora and DM at 2 or 3. You probably could, but it becomes brickier, right? So I figured, why not go for Extrab? We can't draw any other cards with turn to use Extrab, but you'll notice a lot of our effects just search and don't draw now. Magician Soul does draw, of course, but that's the only clashing card, really. Everything else is pretty solid at searching. DM sets from the deck. Gadget searches, this searches, this searches, this summons from deck. You get my point. I felt Extrab has a place in this deck. Desires too, but you'd probably have to play less hand traps and more engine at 3 if you wanted to go triple Desires. But that is definitely an option, so don't think you can't do that. That seems cool too. Now, because Extrab is obviously so crucial to just having a cracked hand, and Gadget resolving is also kind of crucial for the deck doing its Gold Sarc combo, you need to play Call By and Cross Outs in my opinion, so you can just get rid of any Imperms, Ashes, or Effect Failures that your opponent may try to dump on you. So you can see we've got a massive hand trap lineup, and you'll probably be wondering, what is Magician Soul sending to the graveyard to summon itself? Because there's no vanilla DM in here, just a new one, and you don't want to send this one either normally. The Magician Souls in this case is going to be sending Dimensional Shifter to the grave because, well, let's be real, you don't really need more than one in your deck, and if you've already activated one, you're probably not going to use another one. The Magician Souls here is pretty much always going to put Shifter into the bin. And this is a DM deck where you can actually play Shifter, and I think that gives this deck a massive advantage over every other DM build so far. Because Shifter is just a card that ends games, it wins games by itself. Now obviously you can open this as your draw for turn, you can open this in a matchup where it's dead, and you can draw it on turns, you know, further into the game, and it's an absolute brick dead card. But that is the nature of Dark Magician. We're used to the brick, so if the hand trap brick can win us a bunch of games going first, I think we got to play it. And as I said, Magician Souls can help by thinning at least one copy of it, but typically, you know, it's just a card that you got to play. It's that powerful that we've got to play 3. Once again, we've got to play a bunch of hand traps that are relevant and also help our cross-out targets hit pretty much everything in the game. So Ash, because we do get Ashed on pretty much every search here. Silence Towards the Future, Gold Sarc, and Mr. Gadget Man can all be Ashed. Dark Magician summoning from the deck, or Gandora rather summoning from the deck, can be Ashed, so his whole destruction effect can be Ashed, which is a little bit rough. Not to mention, we can be Impermanent Veiled on Gadget, DM, or, no, not so much DM, but Gadget and Gandora can definitely get Impermanent Veiled, as well as Mr. Silent Magician 0, so that's a little bit grim for us. So in terms of hand traps you always play, I would suggest Shifter, Ash, Impermanent Veiler. You could definitely drop the numbers to like 2 and 2 if you wanted, for example. Something like that should be fine for your cross-out targets. You also do want to open some, so normally 3 is fine. But just note that Impermanent Veiler are not once per turn, so you can open up all 3 and use all 3, right, on your opponent's turn. It's kind of good. Whilst Ash is once per turn, so if anything, you'd probably go for 2 Ash. But it depends on the format, and ultimately, that's why Droll is here. Droll could easily be subbed out for Ghost Ogres or a Bestial Engine, since, well, let's be real. Droll's only good because it's good in this current format when I'm making this video. If Droll's bad by the time this deck comes out, obviously we simply just take these out and don't even think about it for another second. I think the things that will stay are Shifter, Ash, Imperm, and Veiler, so, you know, stick by them and the rest of the slots can kind of change. Now, I've noticed some people are playing branded engines or other engines like normal DM engines in here, and I think that's cool. Feel free to experiment. This build is really going to hard focus on the gadget / gold sarc line and just a bunch of hand traps. We're playing as pure as possible here with a bunch of hand traps to just facilitate what the deck wants to do, and its turn 1 board ends on a spell negate with Silent Magician 0 and normally a Dragoon backed up with some hand traps. That's pretty sensational, to be honest, because it's usually a 1-card combo or 2-card combo with the gadget. You do kind of need to hard open Dark Magician or Geskandora to make it, perfect, but you do have to realize we have Silence Towards the Future and Gold Sarc, which both search a Gold Sarc monster. So really, you just have to open Gadget and like one of these or one of these, and you have a great time. Not to mention, Illusion of Chaos can sneakily grab you this Dark Magician too. That's another reason we're only playing it at 1. Some people mention there's no way to get Dark Magician back from grave once it's there, and yeah, look, I'm sorry. If this card goes to the bin or gets banished, yeah, that's kind of it. Its main purpose in this build is honestly to summon itself back, set your secrets, so you can make Dragoon on your opponent's turn, and there's not really anything else I can say or do about that. It's just the way that DM plays in this build, at least in my opinion. We might play more than one, but I've found one in testing is all you really need. And once you cycle through it, your subsequent turns, you're going to be summoning Gandora to nuke the field, or you're actually summoning Swordsman 0. It's kind of random. But yeah, let's get into the extra deck though, because the rest of this build is fairly straightforward, right? Call by and cross out, everyone kind of knows what they do. Now, I don't have a side deck ready, it's just kind of cards you can play instead of stuff I've picked, but here's Triple Dragoon because we're playing Extrav. If you weren't playing Extrav, like, you get away with obviously just the good old 1 Dragoon, right? You only really need 1. We're just playing 3 here because we don't want it to get hit off Extrav. It's part of our main combo. If you don't know that combo, stick around, I'll show you at the end, but I do have previous videos on it as well, so you can go find that too. Zero Boris because we are banishing cards with Extrav as well as Geskandoris, and if you're playing Desires, I'd absolutely recommend Topologic Zero Boris. You can just win your games by itself. Kind of insane. It gets attack boost for all the banished cards, basically Grand Magio on steroids. And any card that's summoned to a link monster it points to nukes the whole field. Everything gets banished, and then it summons itself back the next standby phase after it's banished by its own effect. So, kind of sick, kind of sick. We've got the classic like access codes to lean Dark Line, but we've also got Lina the Light Charmer, Lina the Light Charmer, because a normal summon is Earth, but we've also got these special summons that are Light. Pardon me, we've also got our Effect Failure that's Light, so there's a lot of opportunity. Like, our combo normally ends with Silent Magician 0 on the field. So you could argue that, sometimes Lina the Light Charm will come up, and sometimes Dark will come up, because we'll have probably Dragoon on our field, and maybe one of these guys, maybe even Magician Souls. So yeah, I thought I'd just play both, because honestly, this extra deck feels irrelevant. While Ties is like the only thing that locks you out of extra deck, you really leave your board on this and this a lot of the time, and you don't really need your extra deck. So if anyone has suggestions for extra deck, put them down in the comments. I thought about Chaos Angel and some other stuff. You can make them, it's just a little more awkward. But yeah, I really don't know if the extra deck's that relevant in this build, which could maybe lead to some different intervention later. But let me know if you've got some spicy techs for the extra deck, or to not run the extra deck, or something cool like that, But yeah, that's what I found in testing. Dragoon's the only thing I care about, really, and everything else is kind of just here just in case. Which is such a weird feeling in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, right? It's almost like we're playing Flunder to some degree or something, which with the shifter, kind of works. But the ability to play all these hand traps is purely because we're kind of a 1 to 2 card engine now with Gadget and Gold Sarc, so that's a really good feeling, to be honest. And that's the main reason to play this build, by the way. Just the combos are so much easier to achieve, and there's multiple ways to them. It feels really good. BLS is also here along with Unicorn, just some nice link 3s because there is a bunch of level 7s in the deck that you will summon. BLS can be a really oppressive card against Eldritch and some of those other decks. Unicorn here mainly because IP is here, but it's also just generically quite good, and it can go into access code as well after that, which is kind of nice. We spoke about everything here, so we'll move on to IP and SP. I don't think I have to say too much about these cards. SP is obviously one of the best link 2s in the game right now because all the cracked ones are banned in TCG. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about SP. You know what this card does. It can banish stuff, it can target 2, and banish again. Like, it's just a really crazy card, and you can normally go into it off your IP, and you don't want to banish no extra. So I'm playing 3 here, of course that's big money, but this is in a world where we're building the deck online, we don't have to spend any money. As I said, if you don't play Extrav, you can definitely go down to 2 or just 1 of the SP Little Knight, kind of the same for Dragoon here. But yeah, once again, recommendation for the extra deck, hit me up. I was thinking about maybe some rank 8s in Gandora at 3, because their summons, I believe, are not once per turn. Oh no, I'm incorrect. Their summons are once per turn. But anyway, maybe we can work something out. Linkaribo. Just because there's Magician Souls, that's really it. I guess you could normal these cards as well, but it's just like a nice defensive. Link 1, you might open multiple draw, you can normal one of them, turn it into Linkaribo if the rest of your hand is that bad, right? Not great, but it's there. And that's what this extra deck feels like. It's a whole, like, damn, you've bricked, I guess? I don't know, it's a strange extra deck, so I'm not quite sorted on it, but I don't know what else to play, because, I don't know, go and run some test hands with it, and tell me what you think, because I really feel like the extra deck doesn't matter a lot in this deck. It feels like some old school Yu-Gi-Oh, which is kind of sick. So maybe we can play some sort of Floodgates as well, or something. There can only be one might be good, because I, like, Machine, Spellcaster, Dragon, Warrior, well, this is a Spellcaster as well, but could be really nice here, let's get on to the side deck, which is basically just me saying, hey, look, there's a bunch of techs you can play. Turn Silence. This is kind of the, you know, Silence Towards the Future is the Silent Magician option, and then the Silent Swordsman 0 has Turn Silence. It's definitely the worst one. So you could play 1, and that's it. It targets a face-up and increases its level by 3, and then if you activate in response to your opponent's monster effect while you control a gold Sark and a monster, negate that opponent's effect. So it's like almost imperm, but very situational. You need to set it up going first, have a gold Sark monster and a gold Sark on the field. It's a bit awkward. I might also mention here the gold Sark in the mirror match. If your opponent has gold Sark up, you can summon these for free, right? It doesn't specify a gold Sark has to be on your field, it just says on the field. So you can actually, the mirror match is hilarious, but this card has another effect too, which is the main reason you want to play it, I feel. During damage calc, when a monster that mentions Gold Sark battles, you can banish this and end the battle phase. Seems kind of good. Once again, I think it's a one or none kind of scenario here. I'm probably going to lean towards none, but let me know what you think in the comments. Next, Stronghold, the Hidden Fortress, which is part of our main combo, but I just don't think it's worth the slot. I could be wrong here. This card just kind of summons itself and is a body. That's kind of it. It does say when your opponent attacks while you control Gold Sark, you can destroy the monster, but like, I don't know if that's going to be too relevant. I could be off and you do play it at 1, but like, once again, it's a 1 or none, so I don't think it's the biggest deal. We've got the crucial cards at 3, like Silence is just Rhoda, Gadget is insane, Gold Sark is insane, right? You got to play these at 3. Everything else kind of feels like what you think is best. I could see DM at 2, I could see Gandora at 3. The Silence do seem like they're one-offs, and a lot of people aren't playing the Swordsman either, but that's, I think you should, because it's your main Ties of the Brethren, or Ties of Friendship rather, double summon, it's these two. But maybe I'm coping and the Magician's just the only good one, because a Spell Negate is obviously much better than a, oh, your opponent targeted my Gold Sark on my monster, I negate it. If this was a generic monster negate, oh man, it'd be really good to just summon these two out. That'd probably be triple Ties of Friendship then. But I find this more of a backup play, or a play you do at the end of your turn. But anyway, I'm getting a bit off topic there. There's also the Dark Magician Mirror Force, which is, interestingly enough, able to respond to opponent's monster effect, but similar to the Swordsman, it has to be an effect that targets or tries to destroy a Gold Sark monster. Let me reread it, because it's awkwardly worded. So an opponent monster declares an attack, so it's still like Mirror Force, but then it's also, or an opponent's monster effect is activated that will destroy a monster on the field, or a monster that mentions Gold Sark. Oh, while a gold, yeah. So it would destroy a monster, but you also have to have a Gold Sark monster in the field. The first time each monster you control that mentions Gold Sark would be destroyed by battle or card effect, for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, it is not destroyed. Also destroy as many attack position monsters as possible, and then if you control Dark Magician after all that, inflict 500 opponent for each monster destroyed. So basically, it's like, protect your cards, pop all your opponent's attack position monsters, burn them if you have DM, but you do need to have a monster with Gold Sark on the field. Which obviously is very doable, but my biggest issue with this card, as well as Turn Silence and Stronghold, is if you open them without access to your Gold Sark, or a monster that can be summoned, like if you don't open Gadget or Gold Sark or Silence, like these are just really not helping. So I find that a bit scary. But you know what? At 1, it's probably fine. And I'm just being a bit precautious. But yeah, I thought I'd put them down here because they're cards you can definitely get away with at 1. I'm just not brave enough to play them, I think. And here's Marshy Marshmallow. This card seems okay at 2 or 3 because it summons itself for free while your opponent just is playing their turn. You can, during your opponent's turn, if you have Gold Sock, quick effect, summon this card from hand. And while this card is on the field and Gold Sock's on the field, it can't be destroyed by battle, and your opponent's monsters can't target other monsters for attacks, which is always interesting. There's a lot of battle phase effects in this deck, which I think is what makes it a little weaker than it could be. But let's get to the last effect. So if this card is destroyed by card effect, special one of your other Marshy Marshmallows that is banished, or in your hand, deck, or grave. And if you do, inflict 1,000 to your opponent. So I love that here it says banished, hand, deck, grave. That is so perfect. They know where they were going with this. They're like, we don't care where this Marshy Marshmallow is, as long as there's another one in your playing, in your general area, as long as it's not banished face down, you can summon the other one. So I think 2 is probably the optimal number here, since you can summon one and go into the other. Unfortunately, each of the following effects of Marshy Marshmallow are once per turn. So it's not like an infinite loop where you could just keep summoning different marshmallows. That would be really good. You do have to summon the one, and once you've summoned the one, that's it. The next one won't trigger. So when you do that, you do inflict 1,000 to your opponent. So what's interesting is this trap inflicts 500 for each monster destroyed, and this guy burns your opponent for 1,000. And I think it's interesting that they're just putting burn, like a little bit of burn, onto nearly every deck that comes out now. It's very frustrating as a Yu-Gi-Oh player who goes to bigger tournaments. When you put meta deck, oh, not to say this is a meta deck, but when you put burn cards or life point gain in decks where it's just not part of the theme, which is a lot of decks nowadays, it really makes time games stressful and stupidly frustrating for no reason. Like, they should just stick LP gain and LP burn to decks where that's the theme. They just kind of sprinkle it into decks now, and it's quite, I don't know, let me know what you think about this in the comments, because I feel like other people feel this way too. It just seems so silly, and it's almost like Konami knows their time rules suck, and they're just letting people, you know, have a way to play into the time rules, which is quite frankly cancer. You hate losing a game because you got burnt for 500 when you could have full comboed and won. It feels bad, man. I don't know. It's strange. But yeah, if you do play Marshy Marshmallow, let me know if you play 2 or 3. I think 2's fine because you don't really want to open it. 3 is way too much, I think, because like, you want to open Gadget, you don't want to open this. You want to search this kind of at the end of your turn, or even using Silence Towards the Future in your opponent's turn, adding Marshy Marshmallow to your hand, and then drawing 6, and then you can summon the Marshy Marshmallow. Like, that's kind of sick, right? That's kind of sick. But I think that's its main use. Getting searched off Silence in the battle phase, so you can also draw up to 6. But of course, you've just searched Marshy Marshmallow, so you're probably only drawing 5. You probably want to do this when your opponent's just played their first card down, but then you have the dilemma of, well, your opponent hasn't entered the battle phase yet, so they definitely balanced this card by having a lot of it. A lot of the deck in general is like battle phase related effects, and obviously this being a draw 6, referencing the anime Cards of Sanctity, is such a good meme, and of course it only works in the battle phase, so that's kind of how they balanced it, which I think is fine. We spoke about these hand traps earlier. These would easily replace Droll and Lock, so if Ghost Ogre is more relevant, or Ghost Bell, I really should have Ghost Bell here. If this is a more relevant hand trap at the time, fantastic. Like, just play your Ghost Bells, or your Ghost Ogres, or your Bystials in this slot, and I think that would actually be absolutely fine. Plus, you play an Effect Value Shifter and these other Dark and Light cards, like, you'll actually be able to banish your own stuff too a lot of the time, and it'll be absolutely fine. That's kind of my take on the deck. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we're going to go into some test hands right now. So let's run one, just off the bat. Wow, okay. Sadly, we have to go for the Tires play because we haven't opened any other engine. Good part is double crossout means we're definitely doing it, and there's nothing our opponent can do about it. So this play is probably not the most optimal play, but I mean, we didn't open Gadget, and really you just need to open Gadget for everything to be cracked. Oh, sorry, we would have got Droll there, but we'll cross out the Droll anyway, so I'm just going to not activate the Droll, right? It's good that we have cross out, not callback, because then we can draw our opponent on their turn, right? That's kind of nice. So obviously we could go Silence Towards the Future, adding Dark Magician or Gandora, but that doesn't get us anything, especially because we're not playing Stronghold, and even then that's not enough. So in this case, this is the hand where you go for Ties of the Friendship. Oh man, I keep saying that. Ties of Friendship. And you will summon out both the silent cards, and unfortunately this board is not quite a cracked one. I'll go and show you replays where it is cracked. You simply just need to open, no, not Gold Sark, and also the Gadget, or just the opposite cards here. So we can activate another gold sock, but there's no real point because we can't use the search effect, and you can only use each of the following effects of gold sock once per turn. So next turn we do have follow-up, and we'd probably be able to set a cross out here as well. And our opponent doesn't have a spell effect, and you know, they can't target our guys, but ultimately we can't even make like Baguska here. I figured making Baguska here would be insane, but Ties of the Friendship does lock us out of doing anything cool like that, so a bit unfortunate there, but you know, it does summon 2 from deck, and anything that does that could be problematic if the extra deck was still available. But anyway, let's go into some replays I've got saved. These replays aren't anything too special, I just wanted to show off Shifter is insane in this deck, right? We start with Shifter, and it doesn't stop any of our main combos. So here's the main combo of Gadget, get Gold Sock, getting Ashed on Gold Sock here just to show how good it is now. And we're able to go get the Dark Magician through Illusion of Chaos instead, summon Dark Magician, summon Gandora because Gold Sock's out, pay 4k, nuke the field, that summons out Silent Magician 0, DM will trigger, summoning himself and setting secrets. This is where Gadget would trigger to get Stronghold if you're playing it, but obviously I'm not. Opponents standby, we're going to get a level up here, and we're going to Secrets into Dragoon, meaning we're going to be able to Dragoon negate, and we've actually got a Spell negate still, which you're going to see come out here. Dark Magician's going to summon. You're not going to see the Spell negate. We are going to crash into the DM, but you can't crash. Today I learned you have to be destroyed by card effect. I thought maybe battle as well. You think a card that references the anime would also be able to get destroyed by battle and do the effect, but that's fine. It's just another way they nerfed this card. So yeah, I do think it's interesting that Gold Sock also has an additional effect here where you can discard a spell and stop the summon of a monster coming from the graveyard. Super random, but the Shifter ultimately here is what will just shut down a lot of decks, right? We played into an interruption, but we also opened Shifter, and I feel like this is just going to be the game state. Like, it's just Dragoon, Turbo, but you can do other cool shit. And not to mention, this Dragoon will have no pop, so please be aware. This Dragoon is summoned off 2 effect monsters, right? There's not a single vanilla in this deck, and because of that, effect Dark Magician and effect Gandora means no pops, so sometimes you may have a bit of difficulty killing the opponent. I still think this control style of the deck is the best format. You can play Branded Fusion, I've seen people play Duality, and all that kind of stuff, like Extension. You could probably even play Nadir Servant in here since you don't use the extra deck. But I just find it can be a little tedious. Though, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, Nadir Servant with, you know, Maximus, and maybe the Shadol Schism stuff would be really nice. Especially because I mentioned the extra deck doesn't matter. So now the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, Nadir with Nadir targets would be really good with Maximus at 1. But yeah, maybe that's something for someone else in my comment section or the other YouTubers to experiment with. This is my pure take on the deck. I think it's quite good. I think the ratios are pretty solid from the test hands I run. This hand isn't full combo, but man, it can be because we've got extra. So let's just run one more test hand and then we'll call it a day. As long as we don't banish both. Oh, we would have got Ash there, but we've got the Callby and the Crossout, so I'm just not going to activate it, right? Sadly, drawing into Shifter there, that is a bit rough. We did banish all 3 Dragoons. Wow, every time I run a test hand, it's cursed, huh? Well, normally it's not this cursed. I'm not going to lie, chat. It's normally not this cursed. But here you can see why Silence towards the future is so damn good. It grabs you Gadget. And as you know, Gadget is kind of just nearly full combo. It's not quite going to be full combo here because we were hoping to draw into Dark Magician or Gandora or Gold Sock itself. We are going to be able to get Gold Sock here, of course. But we'll only be able to get one of the pieces here. So this might be a Ties of the Brethren moment. Or Ties of Friendship moment once again. Or maybe this is a reason why you need to play the Dark Magician at a higher ratio, because you kind of need to open 1 Gandora or 1 Dark Magician for this to be real elite. This probably is a Ties of Friendship moment, because what, summoning DM doesn't really do anything. And then Gandora pops this, doesn't really do anything. So I guess it is a Ties of Friendship moment once again. And the good news is we've got Ash to back it up, and we've got Callby and stuff like that, which we probably already used on the opponent's Ash. I guess you'd cross out Designator so you can save the Callby for your turn, especially because we have an Ash ourselves. Let's just run one more, because man, we really just, this is it. See, this is it. This hand is insane, right? This hand is insane. We can Shifter our opponent. Now, wait, we should consider Shifter turns off some hand traps, doesn't it? Shifter turns off Droll, and it turns off, I think, Ash as well. Or maybe not Ash. We'll have to have a check after this. But this is full combo. Just one search and one gadget is just insane full combo. Oh, we would get impermed here and the turn would be over, but let's play it out anyway. We go and get Gold Sark. Gold Sark can add us another card, which is just sensational, right? It's so nice having a card that just searches your stuff. I don't know, it's a good feeling. Gold Sark just, it feels like such a good card. I don't know, I'm just so happy about it. I know it's not the purest form of DM, or some people are disappointed, but I really do think this could be the future of DM. Especially since I think we're going to get a DMG. Like, little Yugi loved DMG, right? Like, I don't think there's a world that we don't get a Dark Magician girl that fits into this deck. And it's just a matter of time, and hopefully it's playable. If you can play it at 1, like, that's playable. And we'll see what it does. Could be similar to Apprentice or something like that. But we'll find out soon. Probably should summon this in defense, since it's never going to have much attack. I've realized in this build, it just doesn't really have much attack. Like, that's the other option. We can play this deck like a Grand Marju deck, and just play triple Gandora, and just Pot of Desires, and like, really just aim to buff up the Gandora, right? And you could also still play Dragoon, or like the DM and stuff, right? It seems like a cool take on Grand Marju as well, so I may make a Grand Marju build. Those of you who watch me live stream know that I love Grand Marju as well. You'll notice, like, we can make extra deck cards, but we need both of these for the secrets to work, and we need to keep this out because of the spell negate. Like, there's no point making a single extra deck card. Like, our best play here is set Imperm and just pass, right? And then on the opponent's turn, I know the opponent has a bunch of hand traps, but they're also under Shifter here, so don't forget that. We are going to activate secrets here. We'll summon our Dragoon. Great. So on the opponent's turn, we effectively have a spell negation right here, a Omni negation, an Imperm. We probably don't have Droll because we're probably going to discard it off the Dragoon. But we also have this random effect if we somehow get another card now hand where the opponent tries a special from grave, discard a spell, target one of those monsters, send it to the grave. Wait, how does this work? Your opponent specials a monster from the grave, you can discard a spell, target one of those monsters. Oh, so it can be multiple monsters. They summon multiple monsters, discard a spell, target one of them, send it to grave. Really interesting effect on there. I know it's a reference to the Duel with a Tem, but yeah, it's just an interesting effect. But anyway, what do you think of this? It's kind of cracked, no? So let's check the hand traps we turn off while playing under Shifter. Ash is just discard this card, so Ash is fine. Droll has to go to the graveyard. I believe also Vela has to go to the graveyard. It does. Imperm does not. Imperm does not. So maybe you would go like 2 and 2 because they become worse with Shifter or something like that. Maybe. Maybe. It's up to you guys. If the format like says Droll's cracked, well, Droll's cracked, play through. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there because it's dragging out. But what do you think about the future of DM and this kind of build of DM? And how are you building this deck? Because there's a lot of different ways to build it. And you know, we talked about Nadir, Branded, Duality. There's a lot of options out here. I'm keen to see who comes up with some cracked, you know, Dark Magician Gold Sock stuff. But anyway, I've been LOZA, this is my take on it, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and support all my social medias and all that cool stuff, and I'll catch you guys next time. Bye!